Eclipse Phase. Okay. Let me see if this is the right one. Alrighty. Okay, that worked. Let me get some dice. It's not the right dice bag. It's my old dice bag.
Oh, get the deal.
It's functionally identical to my current dice bag, except that it's older. I need percentile sets, and I also need regular d10s in case I need to roll damage dice. Wow. Actually, not just damage dice, also stress dice. Those are the two most important things to me in the world. Sanity damage and squishy meat damage. I was going somewhere with that, then I lost it.
And that gets edited.
Yeah, the beauty of audio editing. Oh, did either of you, rather, since you're the only ones here, I think Kenna's muted her end of the call, because she's working on a paper right now. This is, humanize yourself and face bloodshed. Oh, wait, no, it's face 2 bloodshed. I'm not going to repeat that. We're not going to do a take 2. That's ludicrous. This is an Eclipse Phase adventure. I got this off 4chan. They run an Eclipse Phase general fed pretty regularly. You know, it's kind of how general feds work. It's pretty good there, but I would also appreciate it if you guys didn't go there a lot, because sometimes I talk about stuff I'm going to do there.
Oh, fine.
Spoilers.
Limit my freedom.
I can't do that. That's not how that works. I'm not actually in charge of you. It's all an illusion. Alright, so why don't you guys go ahead and introduce your characters, and then we'll get to your briefing.
I guess I'll go first. This is
Feel
just a redesign of my character from long back. Character is named Garrett Sinclair. Guess I should just go over his sort of background.
Yeah, sure. Just, background faction.
He's original space colonist, but he sort of associates himself with the Titanian cyber democracy and lives on Titan, more or less. What else? Guess actual history or anything else? Guess some motivations for him are like technical progressivism being a plus, along with socialism.
Yeah, your motivations are probably a good thing to list.
Minus the AI/infomorph/pod/uplift slavery.
Oh, yeah. I was going to mention that earlier. Typically, people limit that motivation to just one of those things, but if you're just minus slavery, you could write that down.
Okay.
That's just minus slavery.
I'll just do minus slavery then.
Current morph
is a weird sort of other thing, but it also has a synthetic mask, which allows him to look more like a biomorph.
Right. With your synthetic mask equipped, you function exactly like a biomorph, and most scanners will register you as a biomorph.
Yeah, I don't have gate masking, so that's one thing.
Yeah, the various masking, like skeletal disguise, gate masking, stuff like that, that's more complicated than really you need to go into. That's all stuff designed to defeat security, like
gate
scans.
blocking, all that would probably get me kicked out or highly noticed by someone in Luna if they found out.
Yeah, also another thing is just using IR or T-rays, certain kinds of T-ray emissions can figure out a masked synthmorph, stuff like that. I think I wrote one of my homebrew implants is the classic bioelectric sense, which gives you like a plus 20 to detect masked synthmorph. Alright, so yes, is there anything else?
I give him a hacker alias of like Toby, with the O being replaced with a 0 and the Y being replaced with a 1. And then
Alright.
I guess some history for him that Lucky wasn't the original version of his character was created, but this guy as I said before, he's a hacker, but he sort of gotten too deep into a sort of file and accessed something I shouldn't have, even though he was perfectly safe in that one file, but opening up like a file within that file sort of set up some alarms, and he got caught, and his memories were sort of edited out, so he wouldn't remember at all what he saw in that file. Is that being top secret of whatever organization that was pulling it, and then they sort of sent him to an entirely different morph than originally had.
Right, it's the classic cyberpunk story set up. The hacker opens a file he shouldn't have, and then somebody wants to get him for it. Only in your case, they've already gotten you for it, and they've edited out your memory of it. And this is why you're suddenly halfway across the system on Luna, because you really don't want to be on Luna. Not that Luna's not a lovely place.
It's not a lovely place for his kind.
Okay, it's kind of not a lovely place. No, because if he wasn't masked, you used the Savant as your base morph, right? The Savant has the clanking masses social stigma. That would be the full -30 for all social interaction on Luna, unless you're talking to another synthmorph, because they're really what the book calls bio-chauvinists, so they like the squishy people. People should be made of meat, and anyone wearing metal they're poor, they're low rent, they're blue collar, they're also not any fun, they don't even need to breathe. They're huge losers, basically. This gaming group does not officially condone robot racism. I merely reflect the opinions, which are reflected in the Eclipse Phase books. However, how does the commentary warning, like, before movies go? Yay, editing.
Well, my character is named Noble Grayson, a male who's who's about in his mid-30s. He was part of the original colonists to make it up into space, and basically got ringside seats to see the fall of Earth. As it turns out, he did not survive the show and had to get slotted into something else. His preferred morph of choice is a female morph he's nicknamed Gecko for her particular unique look and set of capabilities. He resides in the habitats orbiting Earth, most specifically Bone Nien.
I think it's Nien.
Nien.
I once had Google pronounce it for me, and I believe it was Nien.
Working on habitat construction or getting work as a pilot or a flight crew, as where his true passions lie, and one day owning his own ship and be able to explore the stars as he sees fit. But he's not without his vices, with an addiction to sex and drugs. I wouldn't say minor, or definitely are not debilitating either.
Yeah, I'll double check to be sure, because if I know if this will take that long, for you guys to conduct this particular scenario. This is designed as a kind of basically what I'm using it for. It's designed for people, smaller groups of people who are newer to the game or haven't played in a while and need an introduction kind of. I've run, I think, almost all of the actual Eclipse Phase scenarios, which are good for that. And my own scenario that I wrote as a complete standalone where the heavens meet the earth is not. Luke's already played a version of that, and I'm sure he remembers that scenario is the one where you guys go to Earth to find hyper elite family's vault in their old mountain retreat. Yeah, there's some stuff. It's like serious business Titan hardware you have to fight. So yeah, it's not for two guys who aren't necessarily combat characters. It's like, let's roll up some combat monkeys and or some survivalists and try it out. Minor addiction. Alright, so it's once a week. If you fail to get your weekly dose, you get a -10 on all actions until you do it. Moderate is the same. You need it at least once a day. It's a -20 to anything until you get your fix. Is it a physical addiction, which is in your morph, or is it a mental addiction?
It's a mental addiction.
Alright, so then you also, if you go for a day without getting your drug hit, you take a -10 to stress tests and other willpower-associated tests. In addition to the -20 you get for everything. So, like, try not to be jonesing for a hit when you see the unseeable.
And to his favorite morph, and it comes with a drug gland with his favorite drug in it. Yeah.
Alright, so you can just hit the hither whenever. Alright. Okay. Yes. Is there anything else you'd like to add about your character?
Noble wouldn't claim any particular allegiance to any faction, but is known to bounce around from wherever work seems the best. So he's usually doing work for like the habitats or reclaimers, or even some less savory types, as long as the money's good. But as I said, he has his own career to consider, and he's not afraid to jumping through some hoops to get it. Motivations are personal career.
What are your motivations?
And exploration.
Okay, and those are all pluses, of course. All right, we've got a space jockey bouncing back from a stint in the indenture, and we've got a wayward activist programmer who is wondering what the fuck he's doing inside the system. Being firewall skill is firewall can be used to find people wherever you are, whenever you are, whatever you are. If you're a firewall agent and you find yourself in the middle of fuck off nowhere on an asteroid, if you can get a long range transmission out, you can send one to firewall and be like, hey guys, who's in my area? Whatever Garrett was doing when he woke up, he probably contacted firewall and was like, guys, I got a problem.
Could I get, like, networking firewall as a skill?
I don't know if you have it. You can take it.
I think I'll remove the 20 that I have from infiltration to networking firewall.
That's fine. You can make that change. That's the other reason why I'm running this session, is so everybody gets a chance to figure out their characters and, move stuff around. I'm not that you necessarily need the skill to, like, contact firewall and be like, hello, secret conspiracy organization, please help. Yeah, that's considering that the rep score from 0 to 99 might be literal, 40 is a decent number. So Firewall, they would probably direct you to your nearest person who was of a high reputation with the organization. Given that Noble has a 40, that's entirely possible that you two ended up working together. He's secretly a robot, so he doesn't have to eat or sleep or any of that. So it's like Fry and Bender. Bender can sleep in the one room apartment, and then you go into his closet and you could fit a real person in there. Well, reverse that, and you can just stick Garrett in your space closet. Like I said, he's masked so he can sleep and eat and pretend to be made of squishy meat, but he doesn't have to. Again, to kind of riff off a world build a little. The thing about Earth is cordoned off. It's isolated. There's a system of automated satellites which shoot anything down coming or going that gets too close. And then the planetary consortium, the Hypercorps, have an actual picket of manned ships. Some are teleoperated or jammed, so they have infomorphs either inside them or remote running them. They're not necessarily full of physical people working physical controls, because if you're in a military ship or a highly agile space fighter, you don't necessarily want to do that, but they have quote-unquote manned ships outside of the cordon who do active patrols for people who come too close. Unfortunately, the cordon, I think, roughly coincides with low Earth orbit, so there are several habitats which were formerly in low Earth orbit, which are now close to or actually inside of the cordon. This is where lots of reclaimers and pirates and scavengers go to find stuff. Sometimes that stuff they find is not nice, because there were outbreaks of Titan activity in orbit. There were plenty of people, because Earth was evacuated en masse, there were plenty of people who came up who were infected with something. That's entirely possible that's how Noble died during the fall, was you were caught in a habitat which was overcome by something. Could have been a riot, could have been an exurgent infection. I don't know, you might not know. That's an imprecise detail to work out later. But orbit is one of Firewall's major points of interest. Firewall isn't necessarily opposed to the Reclaimers necessarily, but they are ever vigilant. The whole point of the organization is there cannot be another fall. Speaking of that, so all of you have gotten your briefing over the eye. Some scanners, that's Firewall's information analysis specialists. They came across an anonymous posting on a mesh forum in Arato. That's one of the major cities in Luna. It's actually the oldest and largest city. Rather, that's the oldest and largest mining settlement. It's supposedly the smallest city. My bad. Edit that also! And edit that! It's giant recursive waves of editing. I don't know how much of that will actually get edited out, because I think it's funny. Tomorrow, when I do edit this, I might leave it in. That's the usual rule. If it's funny, you leave it in. If it's just awkward or breaks the flow, you cut it out. Alright, good. You guys are decent.
Yes.
So, they found this anonymous mesh forum post, which included plans for something called a smart swarm. Firewall has determined that it is clearly derived from Titan nanotech, which is very, very bad. Yes, I was saying that the Firewall's net war experts, kind of the job that Garrett normally does. They have scoured all the blueprints from the datasphere. Basically, they found all instances of the actual blueprint files. They deleted those, but they couldn't trace the identity of the poster. They were too well masked. So your job, should you choose to accept it and not be horribly burned by your conspiracy organization and presumably summarily executed and reverted to an earlier backup, is to go to Arato, find the poster of that message, remove any possible threat, including the original source of the blueprints, and also determine what that source is. You should also be careful. This was a post on a at least moderately public mesh forum, so it's entirely possible that the Planetary Consortium and the Lunar Lagrange Alliance may have also noticed this and may have similarly mobilized. And their objectives do not necessarily align with yours. Basically, if push comes to shove, you guys are to also prevent the Consortium or the Alliance from getting hold of these plans. How high is your IREP again, Noble?
It's at 40.
Okay, you have probably heard whisperings, because you're fairly well off in Firewall, that the Consortium has their own black bag group who does kind of what you guys do, only for the Consortium, which usually means for profit. That's Project Ozma. You don't know a lot of details about anything they do. You've probably never run into one of them on your own, but you're into the Firewall scene enough to know that there is some, men in black boogeymen out there who might also come a-knocking if somebody's posting plans for Titan tech on the internet.
Oh, internet, why do you have to hold everything?
I know, right? Alright, so, give me some box text.
Yeah.
So, Arato It's one of the major seats of the Lunar Lagrange Alliance. It's on Luna, so if you guys are in orbit, you will be taking a short trip out to lunar orbit. It's not hard. It's really close. Primary languages here are English and Chinese. I assume that means Mandarin probably, but other dialects like Cantonese or Wu Chinese probably work. But English also works. Gotta love that English. So Arado is the oldest and one of the largest mining settlements on Luna, but it's also one of the smallest cities. Population is slightly higher than 5 million. Arado is widely considered to be the most airy and beautiful of all lunar cities. The heart of the city is a vast cavern excavated before the fall, which is called the Great Cavern of Arato, or just the Great Cavern. It's the single largest open space beneath Luna, because all of the lunar cities are buried under the surface to avoid hostile radiation and, that fact that there's not naturally air on Luna. So the Great Cavern is 1.5 kilometers high and slightly more than 2 kilometers across. I can convert that back into Imperial if you guys can't eyeball that, but it's big.
All right.
So there's a park in the Great Cavern. It's the largest and most lush. It was originally founded by a Sino-European mining company, so the park that's inside the Great Cavern, Luna is known for its gardens and parks, because it was so close to Earth. There's lots of flora and fauna which are held there. But the park in the Great Cavern is mostly based on Chinese vegetation. The flat areas in the center of the cavern are largely bamboo groves, while other areas are verdant Chinese forest. And there's some mountainous vegetation along the sides of the cavern. The park has some of the most beautiful wildflowers in the system. It also abounds with birds and other animals, including giant and lesser pandas. That's right, the fall didn't kill the panda. Sunlight is directed into this jungle by means of large mirrors which reflect it down from the surface. During the long lunar nights, reflected sunlight is replaced by artificial light that's effectively indistinguishable. By the way, this is a point to mention. If you didn't know, the moon is tidally locked with Earth. It always faces the same direction, so the moon itself doesn't rotate. It rotates around the Earth. So there's not a traditional day-night cycle the way the Earth has a day-night cycle, and instead it's basically it's a lunar month when the moon is kind of when the moon is full because Earth is a sphere. That would be day, and then as it waxes and wanes, that's night.
So we just have really long days and really long nights.
Yes. Also, the surface gravity of Luna is 0.16 Gs. That's not enough to be microgravity, but that's pretty light. If equipped with wings or with a flight pack, a human-sized morph, i.e. an adult human can fly.
Jet propulsion system, how much would that do?
You're not going to be able to, fly outright. You can for short periods of time, but your reserve is going to run out pretty quickly because there is enough gravity for that. But you could do some pretty impressive gas-assisted jumps or glides.
That's what I figured.
Since there is gravity, there's too much force, because the gas jet system's not really designed to let you fly. It's designed to let you free fall, so you're just supposed to navigate better in 0G, as evidenced by the fact that it's a plus 20 or whatever to your free fall test and not, say, a flight test. But you could, if you needed to, substitute it for maybe some bonuses to free running or something if you were trying to make a really big jump. So the rest of Arado is also remarkable. It's a synthesis of park and urban areas. Tall, elegant towers built by the wonders of nanotechnology rise from groves of trees and bamboo below. Narrow stone paths, reminiscent of those found in classical Chinese garden, wind between the buildings. And most traffic uses aerial skywalks and monorails, which stretch between buildings and connect various dwelling, shop, manufactories, which are built into the side of the cavern. And then there are some tunnels which stretch off around the cavern. They're typically 7 meters high and 14 meters wide. One of these tunnels is a walkway, and the other is a small road for electric. It's a road for electric vehicles, like actual cars. Central 6 meters extension of wild area. So basically, it's like a highway running through the middle of a forest. Are these caverns that go around? So Arato is one of the wealthiest of the large lunar settlements, and few poor lunars can afford to live there. Infomorphs and synthmorphs perform basic menial work in Arato. They live typically in mid-sized settlements located a few hundred kilometers and perform their work via the mesh. So most of the working class don't actually live in Arado proper. They live in small towns outside of it, and they don't even commute in. They completely operate via drones and the mesh. It has one of the worst tensions between bioshogunants and synthmorphs of any large lunar settlement. Mr. Master Synthmorph, try not to bleed on anything. Or, go through any metal detectors, which are extremely high-powered. Does anybody have any questions about Arato? So you guys can enter the city pretty easily. If you usually work on Vonia, Noble is probably an actual LLA citizen, as in you probably have your Lunar Lagrange citizenship, because the Lunar Lagrange Alliance existed before the fall. It was made up of lunar and orbital colonies, which basically required a political alliance to function away from Earth. Depending on where you're from, it's entirely possible you have been an LLA citizen all your life. Garrett is a little bit of a stickier situation. What's your at-rep score? So, as you guys are coming in off the plane, quote-unquote, which is probably an actual space plane, Garrett is almost assuredly going to be pulled aside for a random security screening. Would you like to go through with this situation, or is there perhaps something you'd like to do about, say,
who's doing the check? Like a security team, I'm assuming?
Yeah, it's a single security guard, just regular fellow, let's say in a splicer, so he's middle class, wearing a lovely crisp uniform, as you go in, your Ego IDs are scanned, and everybody has them. Yeah. I assume you're attempting to enter legitimately. If you guys want to smuggle yourselves in, we can talk about that. But that
we're
kind
gonna
of,
go legit from the start, I would say.
Seems a little excessive to try and
I
smuggle
want to try and get a little bit of a.
Just a single security guard.
If it's just a single security guard, I'm gonna see if I can get some fast talking and see if I can convince him with like a nudge and a wink to let us get by.
All right.
Yep.
All right. So that sounds like a persuasion.
I'm
test.
guessing since he's just a standard splicer, he doesn't have any I don't know.
I mean, he's wearing some light combat armor. He's probably got a light helmet on, so he has maybe some advanced scanning equipment, but he's not like a hardened, combat morph.
All right.
He's just a guy with a security job. Let's see if I can find some stats for a guy like this. Security.
I probably hit my hither
That'll
because
work.
it's like, why not? I produce it.
All right, you're gonna pop the hither. Oh, you're talking, so that there is a onset time for drugs, but if you're just talking to him, it'll be, unless it's probably maybe 5 or 10 minutes usually, something like that. It's you're just talking. It's not combat, so you don't need to worry about that. You're already hold on, actually, addiction test. I need to check if you have to make an addiction test to see if your addiction gets worse.
This is not full-out seduction, but like flirting in order to expedite this.
Yeah, you're just, you're not, like I said, you're not deceiving him. You said you're just fast talking him. You're kind of, no, it's okay. My friend's all right. I'm gonna vouch for him. It's fine. It's cool, right? You're cool.
Kind of got snake skin and the snake thing going on. Snake motif.
Okay, every time character uses the drug. So yeah, all right. So since this is the first time in actual gameplay you are using the drug, you have to make an addiction test, and we'll see if your addiction goes up. So this will be hither. You need to make a will times 3 test, no modifier.
So that means I'm gonna take my will.
Right.
Roll
and you
under
multiply
that number.
by 3, and you roll under that number.
Okay.
Yes.
7.
All right. Wow. Eclipse Phase is a little bit like blackjack. Normally, you want to roll higher without going over, but for a regular, like a stat test, just passing it all is fine. So your addiction doesn't get any worse. You're used to it. You get that familiar buzz, that tingling sensation, like you can say anything or do anything kind of feel. I think the way... Actually, I've got that open. Let's see. Hither is described... Yeah. Want to ooze sexy like a pleasure morph on a hot tin roof. So, yes, that is... You feel that little something, you feel good. You feel sexy. You feel like you can, talk anybody into anything. So go ahead and roll your persuasion with your various modifiers. You have enhanced pheromones, right? Using the hither, which is the +10 for persuasion tests. And you also have striking looks, and this is a social situation, so that's a +30. So roll persuasion +30.
That gives me a total of 85. I rolled a 49.
Oh, wow, that's an excellent success. He rolls a 97, so an excellent success. If you roll 30 or better and still pass, you get a quote-unquote excellent success, which means it's better than normal. Sometimes this means stuff, other times it doesn't. If you roll doubles, it's a critical. If you roll doubles and fail, it's a critical failure. If you roll doubles and pass, it's a critical success. 0-0 is not 100, it's 0-0, so it's always a critical success. 99 is always a critical failure. Even if you go over 100 points on a roll, you can still roll a 99 and critically fail. But you rolled a 47, it's very good. He rolls a 97. His, whatever the resistance for persuasion, which is I think it's int plus sav plus will. Yeah, no, he's not that good. So he kind of stiffens for a second, then he relaxes. Oh, well, of course, miss. Yes, of course. Your friend is perfectly acceptable. Just, heightened security measures. If you're vouching for him, I'm sure it's fine. Walk this way.
Give him a grateful smile and a wink, and just go on along our merry way.
Okay, so...
Now I'm just going to turn back to Garrett and just say, you see why I love a body like this?
He apparently does not respond.
You're so cold.
Possibly literally. No, that would kind of ruin this guys.
Distracted.
Yes, it's fine. Brackets.
So
okay.
what did the...
Basically, I just...
So,
Basically,
Yeah,
I did a little bit of fast talking and a little bit of cleavage flashing to get the guy to just let you.
I don't think you guys are carrying anything illegal.
How legal?
Do you guys have any blueprints or nanofabrication equipment on you?
Blueprints? No, I got a gun.
Yes, but as we've established, you are an LA citizen. You presumably have a actual permit to carry a gun. Do you have any particular kind of ammunition for it, or is it just regular rounds?
I have homing flux and homing zap.
Okay. So, yes, you are carrying specialized ammunition. Erato is perfectly comfortable with letting you carry a personal firearm for personal protection.
Carrying like an SMG.
Can't be too careful. In fact, if you just, you have to show it and, declare you've got it, that kind of thing. I assume you're not trying to smuggle it in.
It's like, I go to...
So the security guards are careful to warn you that the zap rounds will not stop a synthmorph criminal. Those only affect organics. So be sure to use the flux rounds set to actual bullets. That's how bad Erato is. They literally warn you your special non-lethal bullets won't stop a robot. Maybe you should invest in some armor penetration.
I think my weapons are just a knife in the microwave and make them.
Yes, if you have an agonizer, those don't require a special permit. Because it's a microwave agonizer. It's a personal protection weapon. They also warn you, sir, that the pain deterrent mode on your agonizer won't stop a biomorph, won't stop a synthmorph because they don't feel pain. They also don't feel remorse, blah, blah, blah. They might not say that last bit. But yes, being a synthmorph in Erato and trying to go through customs is a bit like being somebody who's Arab and trying to go through airport security right after 9/11.
Oh, yeah, my guy
You're going to get some awkward questions, going to get some awkward looks.
Does speak Arab.
That's kind of funny, but not entirely. So there's a lot of notes in this adventure about how to get around. You guys can basically either walk, you can take a tram or another monorail. You can also rent a car and get around. You can get a special motorcycle basically. So let's say that's trivial. That'll be 50 credits to rent one. It's fine. He gives you the little key fob. You get a little key. It's not like a turnkey, but it's the electronic kind. You just put it in the vehicle and then press the button. You don't even have to drive it. Every vehicle is equipped with an AI, which has pilot groundcraft at 40. It can also assist you. But there's stats for a Erato beat cop in here, which I could have used. But okay. Actually, this guy's in an exalt. That's way too nice for a guy stuck doing TSA work. That's for
So we're just
shitty
gonna put you as far away from
don't
actual society as possible.
Okay, that's right. You're gonna be the nasty person who has to greet everybody coming into town that they don't like, so that when they get into town, they like us all much better.
Well,
so
we
your
have
leads.
Why don't we check the actual posting? See if we can get any leads there.
All right. Do you guys have any knowledge skills relating to words involving Titan or Nano?
Let's see here. So what thing?
Failing that,
Titan?
knowledge skills like interest Titans, academics, nanotechnology, anything like that. Okay. In that case,
I do.
Do either of you have hardware electronics? All right,
So
you can roll
excited.
that. Basically, read the posts and study the blueprints, or more like study a blueprint of the blueprints, because Firewall doesn't give you the actual blueprint file to put in a nanofabricator and spit out Titan smart nanoswarms, but they do give you a copy of the data so you can look at it.
Okay, got a 32 out of 60.
All right, so from your experience with electronics, and nanotechnology falls under that because they're so small and sensitive. This is too sophisticated to do with normal machines. You would require advanced nanofabrication. We're talking high-end personal actual fabricators, desktop cornucopia machines, which are very rare on Luna. You can, if you want to, there are some ways you can find who would be rich enough to afford such high-end fabrication, but you're going to need to either call in a favor or probably crack the local police network.
Well, aren't we looking more for the person who posted the blueprint rather than people who can make it?
Right, but the person who posted it was sharing it.
So either sharing a favor or cracking the police network.
So basically, what and oddly enough, I will offer this critique, and I might actually bring it up next time it comes up in a 4chan thread. There's not actually an example of what the post is, so I have to wing it a little. But it's basically they're dumping a plan of the posting and say, hey, this is really great, why don't you check this out? It's probable that whoever posted this probably used the blueprint. They might not know what it was, but it's probable that they did use it.
Okay, so
that's one lead.
So what?
So basically, what you want to do is you can social engineer it, or you can just go straight to the digital intrusion.
Well,
what do you think, Noble? Do you have any
unfortunately, no, I
networking
don't. They seem a
hypercorps?
little bit too stuffy to deal with someone like.
Yeah, you don't really know anybody to talk to in the police, so it sounds like it's going to have to be digital intrusion. Where do you guys want to do this meshed break-in? Because, well, it's probably, you want to make sure you're not standing in front of a camera, for one thing.
That guy's been staying there too long.
All right. So you're gonna have to probably do a mesh hacking.
Do we have to be in a specific location to mesh hack?
No, anywhere that's got mesh connectivity.
Some sort of place that has a firewall thing as well.
Maybe we can like get a hotel or a hotel room or something.
Some sort of thing that would make it difficult to find us.
So you want kind of a safe place where maybe you can do some hacking from. Would somebody like to roll networking criminals? Why don't you look for some shady people who know some shady places?
Let's see here. I will roll. I rolled a 7. My networking criminals is 45.
All right. That is an excellent success. You find a guy. You know a guy. On Luna, the crime is mostly done by a group called The Organization, which is, they're kind of a mafia, but mostly they're just, the actual organization is higher-end criminals, but most of their body is made up of basically almost like franchised gangs. If you're a local street gang and you get big enough, you'll become a part of the organization and you'll pay to them.
All right.
This will be 250 credits per hour. But since you rolled so well on your networking, we'll drop that down to 100 an hour because they like you. And we don't know if this will take longer than an hour. They're probably not an affiliate of anybody, but they're a legitimate independent business person. You might even have done some work with them in the past, and you know that they're kind of a freelancer. And they're offering a privacy suite where you guys can, there won't be any sensor information. You can get a private mesh connection. There's no need to worry about, having, say, the mesh ID traced to your actual implants, because your mesh inserts have a hardware ID which will be identified as yours. So, let's do some hacking. Would you like to do a brute force hack or a standard hack test? The standard hack takes longer, but it can be completely quiet. The brute force hack will definitely be alerted if you pass, but it's much quicker.
Oh, do we have a time frame which we need to complete this in?
No, but if you take more than an hour,
I
somebody's
think
going to have to pay another $100.
go.
Then I'll run a charity here.
I won't do brute force hacking, but I'll just do the regular hacking.
So,
right, and
step 1, you have to defeat the firewall. So roll an infosec test.
Don't I need a software to hack, like exploit? You
don't need the sniffer, but you have an exploit.
Which I'm real. Oh, yes, I'll roll that.
Garrett, you're my partner and all, but if I have to keep flipping your bill, you're gonna need to take me to dinner when we get back or something.
You go to dinner right here. It's great. Any mix of European or Chinese cuisine you could want.
Hacking works. 44 out of 60.
Oh, wow, crit. All right, monitored. You have to roll versus them, but because you critted, I'm going to say you skip that. You get inside, and the active monitors don't even notice you at all. We're going to skip that step completely. You also rolled an exceptional success because you rolled higher than 30, so you're hidden. You do not appear in any logs, and you have admin privileges.
Yeah.
So you would like to look for information regarding nanofabrication?
Plus 30.
All right, make me let's go with a researching test. Plus 30.
Research plus 30?
Because you have admin access.
Oh, that's going to put me at 100.
All right, well, remember, 99 is still critical failure, but go ahead and roll. Let's see how good you do.
I got so 99 is a critical failure. Okay, so I got a 95.
Yes. Wow, you rolled amazing. Because remember, it's like blackjack. Okay, so you do find, through your research, skimming the system, you do find that there are 3 major families who would have that kind of access to full-blown cornucopia machines, i.e., they have enough money and influence to beat Luna's normal bioconservatism and allow for personal nanotech. There's the Brookhel family. They are a mining group. Then there is the Nguyen family. They are shipping magnates and are noted to be highly reclusive. They don't leave their estate much. And there's the Jisun, who are a agriculture conglomerate family, who are supposedly involved in some cognate black projects. They're the corp that made the Lost Project and several other terrible, terrible mistakes. But also, because you rolled really, really well, you find an additional information. First of all, the only dealers in illicit nanotech in Arato are the Hard Cases. That's a synthmorph gang who operates out of one of those small towns away from Arato called Little Kowloon. So that's another lead. It's basically you look for illicit nanotech. Those 3 family names could own them legitimately, and the major people who would do it illegally are the Hard Cases. But the other thing you find is that there are a number of unsolved organic damage cases, the most recent of which happened just over a week ago, which roughly about the same time as the posting went up. So, yes. So there's 3 victims. They have appeared to have been savaged by some kind of mechanical limb. Killings are blamed on agitators from Little Kowloon, which is a densely populated synthmorph ghetto outside the city. You also can download crime scene photos, surveillance logs, and virtualities of the crime scenes because you rolled that 90-something. So you can just basically get a digital copy, yeah. So you dump that to your local storage. You now have perfect copies of the entire police scene. So there are 3 victims, and you don't know if these are related or not, but they're definitely interesting. I will give you their names, and you can, if you want the details on the cases, you can ask. Otherwise, you guys can investigate as you will. Copy and pasting. Peter Liao owned a small mining firm. He was killed in the downtown condo. Shuangyu Eretkin is a dietitian and personal trainer in the Panarato Mall. She was attacked and killed in one of the women's locker rooms. There's a witness to that case, Wilson Yue. And then the last guy was Bruce Washeng. He was a curator of a... I don't know if you guys, Actually, no, I'll just stop saying stuff. Fuck you. What are you guys going to do? You have those 3 families. You know that the case is dealing with contact, and you also know that there's some weird case going on around here.
So I think we should investigate them.
Do you plan on going, excuse me, our Lord and Savior Titan?
They might have any connection. Right.
And so I don't know about you, but I do not feel like going into a social... Yeah, yes.
So please look up Wilson Yue. Alright. By the way, there is a suspect,
Okay,
there's a person of interest in the file. You guys can decide whether or not you think he's interesting. It's called Lucas DeVries, or DeVries.
Lucky looks up the other.
His alias is 8-Bit, and he runs with the hard cases. He was originally arrested for attempting to augment himself with illegal high-grade military bioware. So stuff like Neurochem level 2, carapace armor or something like that.
Oh.
The conviction resulted in the seizure of his morph. The first victim, Peter Liao, was wearing his original sleeve. He purchased it, so that's why he's the prime suspect. However, they don't actually have any connection to the other 2 victims. They just have a connection for the first one, and in typical bureaucratic fashion, they're just working off whatever their original conclusion was
Peter
until
Liao
something leaks up and smacks him in the face that it's not true. Yep.
Okay.
He was the owner of a small mining firm. He was killed in his downtown condominium. Security footage was wiped and his stack was taken. There are no witnesses and no trace evidence. He has since been restored from backup. So you could try and talk to him, but his stack was taken, so he's not going to actually remember it himself.
Haven't happened, I guess.
He was...
another question. How far did these cases happen from each other?
Let's see if it says... I believe they've... let's see. Alright, so the adventure doesn't say... so I'm going to say that it was probably, the first one, Peter Liao, was probably, let's say about a month ago. Then the second victim, Ertekin, was probably between 2 weeks and a week and a half ago. And then Bruce Washeng was a week ago. And again, that roughly coincides with the time the blueprint was posted. Your plan, are you guys gonna double look up? One of you's going to try and look up Wilson Yue, and one of you's going to look up Lucas DeVries?
Actually, if he's rolling the game, I probably might have a better chance of tracking that.
Yeah, if you want to roll networking criminals, that works. Otherwise, it's a research test to be like, Google him. Basically, there's 2. If you want to find out about people, there's 2 ways to do it. You can either ask people in their social circles and, get the friend of a friend, hey, buddy, what's this guy like? Do you know this guy? Do you know somebody who knows this guy? Or you can roll research, which is basically Google, Facebook stalk. So both of you could do that at the same time. If you want to focus on that, that won't take you very long. I assume you're going to leave the privacy suite because, you don't want to keep running up a bill.
53 out of 79.
So...
Yeah, secure.
Do you want to secure a hotel room? Okay. Now, this is a Rado. It's very high class. If you want to guys find a flop house or something, you're going to have to... Or a motel, you're going to have to go to one of the ghettos outside. It's probably not a great idea. Otherwise, let's see. It's probably a moderate to rent a hotel for a couple of days at least. That's 1,000 creds. And that's going to be like a chain, like going to like a Ramada or a Days Inn or something. It's not shitty, but it's not great either. It's
Gary,
very
how much
generic.
System
hotel.
credit do you have?
About...
Hold on, he's checking his bank account. It's hard to remember his passwords. Oh man, that'd be a really dick move I could do right now. You don't remember your bank account passwords.
I think I just have just a little under 12,000.
12,000 is very good. If you want to kick that up to a high and spend 5,000 of that, you can get a decent hotel room for a couple of nights. Multiple beds and stuff. Like nobody has to sleep on a couch. You'd probably give you one of those shitty rooms with like two single beds. I mean, you could try and roll social skills on him, but your bonuses for like enhanced.
Yes.
How many? You have prehensile feet and a prehensile tail, right?
5.
You got 6 prehensile limbs, rather 5. Yeah. If you got cyber limbs, you could have more.
Nah, I'm good.
That's fine.
I'm good.
Buying that many ambidextrous traits is really expensive.
Alright, so...
By the way, your Luna is the center of fashion in the inner system. Like, it even beats out the fashion houses on Mars, which is saying something. Fashion industry starts in Luna. So there's some people who give you some looks like they might think that your particular personal stylings are a little gauche. They might be out of fashion. But nobody looks at you funny like, what is wrong with you? Like, some people just get a little snobbish looks. They don't bat an eyelash at the fact that you're a bouncer either. Even though most people here are... And actually, since this is Arado, most people are in Exalts or in Lunar Flyers, which are winged biomorphs that have wings on the back.
So,
Alright,
I'm sexy and I know
we're
it.
getting on,
Yeah.
So you wanna get a decent hotel room?
Okay.
All right, that'll be 5,000. Technically, you could probably bargain that down a little, but I mean, if you guys want to do this quickly, like if you guys don't care what your hotel room, specifics, you just want a nice hotel room. We don't need to like go into the whole bargaining phase.
Yay!
You can always make it more later.
I'm going to flop on the bed. I don't get to sleep.
Money's
on
an
stuff
illusion
like this.
anyway. Oh yeah, no. If you want to sleep in space, you have to like strap into like a cot. This is made with actual silk from actual silkworms and real cotton sheets and real silk.
Your rules.
The pillows are stuffed with actual feathers. You guys probably don't want to sleep. If you had a long plane,
I don't need to sleep. I only need to sleep 4 hours every 44 hours.
Actually, I was about to say, one of you has circadian regulation, which means you can go for a long time without sleeping. And the other one of you is a robot, so technically you don't need to sleep ever. It just helps with the illusion. But you've got a nice hotel room. There's a minibar. It's complimentary minibar. The alcohol is all authentic. It's made with actual, plant products. None of it is synthesized. There's actual ice cubes, not like cheap smart material cooling packs. There's actual ice cubes made with actual water ice, which is kind of a big deal because water is very hard to find in space. All right, so one of you rolled research. Does Noble also want to roll networking?
I will roll networking criminals, yes. I'm totally eyeing that minibar, though.
You guys will get different information.
But first, work, then play.
Yes. All right, so while you're rolling that, for that research test, you get all the same stuff you got off the note, basically about the be on the lookout for that was attached to the case files you downloaded. He's a synth. That means he's in a conventional synth morph. His alias is 8-bit. He runs with the hard cases out of Little Kowloon, so on and so forth. Let's see if there are any. Yes.
I rolled a 32 out of 45.
Yes. Okay. So with your research test, you don't actually gain any additional information because you rolled so well in your hacking earlier. You find where he was. You can't his immediate location because he's on the down low. However, with that networking test, 8-bit, he's sheltered by the hard cases. Since you're a criminal, though, if you wanted to talk with them, they might extend you an olive branch, but you'd want to be careful about what exactly we're asking for him about. The word on the street is that he's not the killer. At least that's what he's saying. He's saying he didn't do it. He is a relatively low G rep. He hasn't been doing this long. He's only about 20. He's not a big player. He hasn't even drawn the attention of, like, the organization. He's just... I guess the best way to put it is he's kind of a career criminal. People, they get busted for something, they go to jail for a while. In his case, it was probably penal simulspace since his morph was removed. I'm allowed. Gonna edit that out, too. And once he got out, he's branded as a felon. He can't do anything. He's stuck in a shitty robot body. So he does the only thing he knows how, which is he falls in with a gang of synthmorph criminals. If you wanted to pursue the networking test, you could call a favor or attempt to bribe the hard cases to give him up, but you don't really get any other additional information without talking to him directly. What did you roll, actually? What was your roll score?
32.
Okay. That's an excellent. If you wanted to arrange a meeting with him in person, you could probably arrange without needing to pay anybody.
My G-rep is
based
20.
on what's your G-rep score, actually? You're about the same level as most of the hard cases. They're not, they're local operators who run a very limited operation, so they're not huge. So you could arrange like a face-to-face, like a level of equals meeting, but that would require you go to Little Kowloon. The hard cases probably wouldn't shoot at you. It's bad form as a member of the Guanxi network to, shoot anybody who's coming in good faith. However, the rest of the citizenry, you don't know if they would be above, catching a good-looking biomorph in a dark alley and beating you to death. I don't know if you've ever been beaten to death before. It's not fun. No. You're squishy. Your blood will go everywhere. They didn't even need, weapons. They can just hit you with their fists. Though, if they're in cases or something cheap like that, if you live long enough, they might break all their arms before they kill you. Cases are pretty shitty. They're actually mostly plastic. But anyway, yes, if you wanted to take a chance on going out there, you could definitely arrange a meeting in person. That might not be the kind of thing. You could talk to him over the mesh if you want to try and work on it a little and get come out. That would be very difficult, though, because he is actively wanted by the police. Luckily for him, it's like going to any ghetto, like in an actual city somewhere. You don't go to the bad part of town unless you're, your SWAT team with a paddy wagon or something. it's not the kind of place you just drive your patrol car and eat a couple of donuts while staring into the neighborhood.
Garrett, do
You're
you
gonna get got.
have any? Do you think might be able to find us a way in? I'm not trying to say they're your people, but you probably have a better shot at them to listen to it at the moment.
What's your persuasion at?
I have 0 persuasion, so it's just base.
What's your salve?
Well, my salve is what's the more plus 20.
All right, so you're not bad. You're pretty well socialized. You're not really skilled at persuading people necessarily, but you're moderately sociable. For comparison, like an aptitude of 10 is equivalent to a modern average human. 20 is about, I think, the aptitude max for a flat. So Luke's character is as socially adroit as the most socially adroit humans are alive today. He's not necessarily skilled, but his natural charisma is about as much as any given person you throw a rock at today could have enough charisma. What's your Sav at, Noble?
20.
All right, so you guys are about the same level of sociableness. You're good. You're real charismatic, talky people. You could, being more technical, you could offer them to trade favors, such as to upgrade their nanofabrication capabilities. You have programming, right? You could probably, using programming or hardware, offer to help them, say that you're synthmorph on the down low. I don't know if you guys are really okay with that. Actually, Garrett probably is. That's, seeing the method of production and
It would improve their lifestyle a bit, wouldn't it? Isn't that what you're for?
Yes, techno-progressive, and also being insane.
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, I'm a thrill seeker, and this sounds
That's actually, and actually in both of those cases, while those aren't motivational goals, that's good for a bonus point of moxie. If you act according to your motivations, possibly to your detriment. So if one of you is like, yes, I want to help these nanofabrication criminals build better nanofabricators, and the other one of you sounds dangerous, let's go. That's worth a point of moxie temporarily.
And it sounds fun.
All right. And in that case, if you guys want to go out to Little Kowloon and talk about this, they will provide you an escort, which means they will send a couple of guys to walk with you and make sure nobody bothers you while they take you to a place. And since it's Gecko that has the criminal networking, you're the middleman here. You're telling them, hey, I know a guy, a freelancer who could help you out. Let's meet. We'll talk about some stuff. I got some questions. This guy will help you. Everybody will be benefited. That's great. So that's if you want to do that, you can arrange that any time. There's other evidence, because earlier you were interested in...
You want to set...
What's his face?
You want to set that meeting up for tomorrow and spend the rest
Wilson
of the day checking out the other leads? I may or may not have been staring at the minibar. Oh my god.
It's a really nice minibar. It's made of genuine mahogany.
What?
What's your somatic score?
15? Nah, they probably stopped.
We drag it. That'd be a little slow.
Okay.
They definitely add it to your bill.
Okay, so...
Alright, so you'll set up the meeting for tomorrow, and then you'll track down the rest of your leads.
Yeah.
So it's priority Wilson Yue.
Sure.
You want to... Alright. Look him up.
What's the...
Or do you want to try and...
a part of for networking?
Alright, you don't even need to roll a researching on him. He is so completely normal that you don't need to roll a research test on him. In fact, there'd be nothing to research. You have to, unless you looked him up at the place you're looking for. So, Wilson Yue was a witness to the third murder that was... I still don't know how to say that. Shuangyu Ertekin. It's the future, okay? Everybody is something else. I remember I listened to an actual play campaign where one of the player characters was named... it was Feiyin Fitzpatrick. She was Chinese-Irish because it's the future. So, yeah. That was the dietitian. She was a personal trainer at the gymnasium in the Panorama Mall, which is also where Wilson Yue works. He works at the Imperial. Physical fitness is a important part of lunar culture, even though basic biomods take care of the degenerative effects of low gravity. Physical exercise is very important prior to that. So the Imperial is a beloved institution on Rado. It's 15 floors of weight rooms, spas, jogging tracks, and every other fitness or health facility you could possibly imagine. There's even an aviary on an upper level where you can, if you have a flying morph with wings, you can literally go stretch your wings.
Oh, they really have everything.
Yes, they do. Wilson Yue is an unremarkable infugee who acquired his job through traditional aptitude matching. So his ego data was recovered. It was in culture. People who show in public have to be wearing flesh. So he's been sleeved into probably an exalt. I don't think it says. Let me check to see if stats. No, okay. Actually, this is Jim. He's probably sleeved into an Olympian. Unfortunately, you know this because you were indentured once. That means he's got a very long indenture contract. If he's doing shitty blue-collar work and he has a high-quality body, he probably has like a 10 or 15-year contract he has to work off, which he probably didn't get employed right after the fall either, so he's at most probably only like halfway through his contract. Yeah, well, I mean, it's better than being stuck in cold storage, and he's going to have a nice body when he gets out of it. He's just going to have no employment skills, and he's going to spend a long time working in virtual slavery for the Corp. Okay, it's kind of shitty. You can corner him at his work of employment because, like I said, he's a towel boy. You can find him like racking towels to go to the space laundry, or you can maybe try and find him at home. It's whatever you want to do to try and find this guy and get details. His official report, his testimony is that he arrived on the scene late, only to find a large synthmorph leaving the scene. So he supposedly didn't see much. Actually, why don't both of you guys give me a kinesics test?
We're good at that.
A -10 because this is a digital copy of his testimony taken like forever ago. You're not getting the full experience of seeing him.
A 50 on here.
All right, and like bonuses from like enhanced smell don't apply because again, this is a digital recording of his testimony, and a -10 again because like I said.
Well, I got a 45 out of 40.
28 out of 40.
All right, Noble.
Can I spend?
You didn't fail by much, so you're like.
Yeah.
Would you like to spend a
have
point
I got that temporary
reroll?
point already? All right, then I'll spend my temporary point.
Yes. You agreed to do something which has been explained to you as being technically crazy dangerous.
I'll spend my temp point.
All right, and roll it because flipping won't help.
29.
All right. Okay, so both of you get this. It's a little hard to tell because you got to go through audio compression. This file has been copied a couple of times. It is just audio. You're only listening to his voice. You're pretty sure he's not telling everything, though. He knows more than just what he says he saw, which will help you in future when you want to confront him about it. But yes. Basically, the question is now, how are you going to approach him, and where are you going to approach him?
I think it's time for Garrett, I have the perfect plan. But for this, I need you to take me to the spa.
Why?
Spa day!
Did somebody say spa day? Actually, this raises a good point. What are both of your muses, and what are they like?
I just have a standard muse. Okay, let me pull her up.
Yeah.
She has a female personality. She is fairly humorous and wisecracking.
Alright, so then your muse definitely was the one who enters and says, Spa day! Or her little avatar pops up in your AR inserts and she does a little wavy hand thing.
You know it, Tatiana. But where is... Oh, that's my character. I lost it temporarily. But along with like her standard stuff, she has interest smugglers and smuggling routes, and profession distributing along with the standard.
Alright. So, had you guys needed to sneak into Arado,
yes,
your muse would have been ideally placed.
As I said, I don't know the stuff myself, but I make sure that my muse does, just in case I need it.
So what's her avatar like? Is she like a pirate?
Sexy pirate lady.
Is she a sexy pirate lady? Alright. There's lots of jingling of various gold bling her avatar is wearing.
It's kind of like
also.
one of those, like, anime chibi pirate, I would say. It's kind of cute, yeah.
So kind of cutesy?
Not no, like, hardboy, yar.
No. And Garrett, what's your muse like?
I totally forgot that muse.
You don't have a muse set up, do you?
Forgot to put in the 3 other knowledge skills first.
Alright, so you can pick those real quick. Does it have a name and personality, though? Because otherwise you get Clippy. Clippy's the default. Listen, muses are usually like a hypercorp design that you may or may not have an open source port of, so yes, the default is Clippy. If you don't tell it to be something, it's Clippy. Hey, you look like you're having some trouble with this. Would you like some assistance?
I've actually read that people find like the standard musing so cumbersome and annoying until they actually learn their preferences and settings. So
yes, typically the Muse is a very, very advanced piece of software. It learns all the time, so it'll seem very nosy right off the bat, especially because Muses are typically given to children when they first get their mesh inserts. So it seems weird to have this weird presence, butting into your life, asking you questions like, hey, little Billy, why do you pick on little Sally so much? But the Muse is just trying to learn how you feel about stuff. After they get used to you, or you get used to them, however you want to think about it, most people's Muses are their closest and most constant companions. They know everything that you like. They know what you don't like. They actively handle all your media feeds. So, say, for example, you're walking down the street and there's an AR ad. If you don't like advertisements for whatever that ad is selling, your Muse will just edit that out of your perception. It'll just be like, nah, I don't want that.
I'm just trying
and
to figure
just skip
out,
Well, what I do is like pick like a couple interests that you are like relevant, but you didn't put into your characters, or something that something that your Muse would like Let's see. You're
Okay.
tight. A
Yeah.
couple X like.
Okay.
There is also in the back of Rimward, there is a titanium muse package because your muse is very important for socialist cyber democracy. It technically costs a moderate, I think, but it gives you a whole bunch more knowledge skills like parliamentary
Sure.
procedure and law. So I'll go look that up for you actually while you're figuring out your muse. Because yeah, the Titanians, they have their cyber democracy, which means everything is voted on by everybody who wants to. And not voting is considered, socially unacceptable. You have to vote several times a week to.
So it's probably
be
your
considered
muse.
doing
Probably
your
like,
part
hey,
for
we're about to
society.
vote on this. Brings it up. What would you like to select?
Yeah, basically, your muse doesn't typically vote for you because
Keeps
that
you
kind
informed
of
of
defeats
votes.
most of the voting. But yes, so you'll tell it, hey, I want to track the newest vote on Proposition blah blah
That was
blah.
funny. I've just realized that
Titanium
this has just become a big vacation.
Okay. Yeah, you guys have yet
Yep.
to encounter
I got a
anything terrible.
hotel. It's a state.
You
and
go to
now
the
and tomorrow I
spa. Later you have a date, quote unquote, with a group of
And that's
hardened
just
criminals in robots.
So that's pretty
This
much
trip is going great.
additional stuff to the. So, yeah.
Yes, that's a moderate
Okay,
cost
I'll
if you
buy
want
it.
to buy that. So you have history, political science, interest in parliamentary procedure, and profession in law now too.
Okay,
So if
I'll
any of those,
just
that shit
first
applies.
add these to the stuff, then get the knowledge skills out
Yeah,
of the
sure.
way. My sort of
Right,
personality
but-
and whatnot is that it actually would Muse fall under AI code. So he actually
Yes, muses are AIs.
reworked his own standard Muse into a sort of personal one.
Okay, so you've got your own
There's,
custom
of
self-programmed
a
muse.
red box. They
So what are they like? What do they look like? How do they interact with
sort
you?
of very much talking red box, and it's sort of sarcastic in a way.
So you got Firefox as a muse?
No, it's just
alright.
a red box, as in like a Muse that looks like a fox.
Is it like a cartoon fox or is it a
Photorealistic
photorealistic fox? Alright. You're pretty good at AI code, so it probably has a very real avatar. And it says, doing that weird thing that talking animals do when their mouths form human words. It says, oh, of course, boss, yes. Rent your friends a lovely day at the spa. Spend more money. That'll get you back to Titan.
Oof.
The fox rolls its eyes.
Okay, now
Alright, so
let's
go to the spa.
find.
Well, the thing that probably in the campaign will be happening is you guys are going to start moving farther and farther out system as I go on with the story. I actually, especially now, I'm thinking I might actually want to set at least one part of the story on Titan directly, so his character will get a chance to go back home, and obviously that'll be directly related to his mysteriously missing memories, because I can't let that shit
Here,
fly.
maybe I should include interest Titan tech.
You could do that. You could put in interest Titans Tech. Interest or academics nanotechnology might also be appropriate to both your character and to the situation. Actually, you could do both. That'd be kind of redundant for this case, but
Okay, I'll just do nanotech.
all right. You can retroactively roll for your muse
Okay.
then to study the
And
blueprints
I'll
earlier.
choose two others.
Another advantage is if you don't have a lot of language skills, but you think your character
Yeah,
would talk to people with that language, is your muse.
Yes, sorry. I have a 60 in French and a 50 in Hindi.
Wow, so you're fluent in both. 50 is enough to talk normally
Well, I
without
checked
needing to roll.
the stations on that I would be going through, which was Novion and the it was one of the reclaimer habitats, and kind of like trying to pick languages that would kind of like suit the region. So
Yeah, I think Vonien's common languages are like English, French, and Vietnamese, because obviously, it seems like a Vietnamese project which is probably involved with the French. Actually, I don't even know. French might be still be a common second language in that region.
yeah, but yeah,
That was
that's
all
what I-
French colonization.
Just
I presume that one of
yeah.
Garrett's other languages
but-
is Scandinaviska,
Watch
'cause that's
is
the
only
official language of
official
Titan.
languages. Native languages, English was. Other languages, Arabic. But I'm going to put that as.
Ah.
So how do you spell that?
All right, let me see if I can do this in one go.
And then I'm taking interest in Titan World.
All right, that's a good interest. That'll come into play later. All right, so if you want to retroactively roll for your muse's knowledge,
Will do.
academics, nanotech.
Okay, so that's 40. So
Let's see if your muse knows anything about this. Unfortunately, the disadvantage to using your
get what
muse
you
is
get.
your muse doesn't have any moxie, so...
okay, I got 40.
Oh, hey! Nice. Excellent success. All right, so let's roll back the clock. Let's fire up the Wayback Machine, Do-do-do. Way back when this adventure started, you probably dialed up your muse. You asked Red Fox to look at it. So here's what he reported back to you. The blueprints, roughly, because you're only looking at, like I said, you're looking at an image of the blueprints, not an actual, the actual instructions file is not given to you. You're basically looking at the metadata, like if you right-click on a file and hit properties, you get that, not the actual file. So what this looks like, what he thinks, is that this is some kind of, it's similar to certain kinds of Titan nanotech for body reassembly. So it's not an actual virus contaminant, but it appears to be a kind of almost like a Titan nanoswarm device. It modifies the biomorph. It's a kind of nanoware, almost like Medicines, only Titan-y. It allows you to resculpt your body at will. You can basically have all the functions of a healing vat, but you don't need a healing vat. The nanotech is inside you, and all it requires is consuming raw materials. However, because he rolled an excellent, you are pretty sure that this would have psychological or neurological side effects, almost like an addiction. As you start to change your body more, the nanites will demand more and more resources, which in turn, because you can, your body will start to convert to more and more extreme modifications. When they say hulking synthmorph,
that's probably someone who's
you guys realize now
on the nanoswarm.
Right, it's entirely possible somebody's been using this internal nanotech too much, and they've basically become some kind of weird, huge monstrosity whose physical limbs look exactly like somebody being hit with, say, like a Ditya-morph, which is basically like, the power loader from Aliens. It's basically like that, only it's your body. That's the Ditya, because it's large and it's designed for heavy lifting. That's basically what they're saying the victims were killed by, big industrial-level synthmorph. This is giving you some additional information, which you might find useful when talking to Yue, because he supposedly only saw a glimpse, but he's not telling the police everything about what he knows. So you go to the spa, or you go to the gym, and then you go to the spa. Luna is moderately public access with their surveillance. So you guys can probably, once you're inside, check out the local security cam feeds. Obviously, areas such as, the locker rooms and the actual, anywhere where anybody might consider their modesty in jeopardy is not cameraed, not even for security purposes. They take it very seriously here. They seriously respect their clientele. But you can see him in, storage areas or going about his business, so you can easily find him. Say he's coming out of a storage locker room, laundry closet, basically. He's got a little cart. It's got little grip wheels on it. So he's got a big load of fresh towels, and he's pulling out. You guys are... Would you want to, corner him? Or do you want him to feel like he can... Basically, how do you want to approach this socially? Do you want to make him feel like he's cornered, or do you want to make him feel like he can get away?
Let's see, indentured servants, stuck in long life. He probably doesn't feel like he can get away at any point. Yeah, I think I'll go for a corner, but I will corner him with seductiveness.
All right, so he is in fact cornered. You've got him in a dead-end hallway. It only leads to employee-only doors. So he can't pass. He can't go about his job without passing. So he starts pushing. He kind of notices you, and he says, yes, sir, ma'am, can I help you? He's tall. He's like I said, he's in an Olympian. So he's got a nice fit, Asian phenotype, short hair, He's, conventionally handsome. He's not striking or anything, but he looks all right. He obviously has to look good for the clientele. He's wearing a probably slightly too small white shirt and a slightly too small shorts so that you can see all the muscles in his arms and legs and stuff. He looks like he belongs here. He's got no facial hair or anything like that. His skin is slightly tanned, very shiny. 0% body fat, no body hair kind of look.
How do I want to do this? I want to be seductive and use seducing on him, but I don't want. I'm clicking on how vocal I actually want to be about it.
And you don't have to be any vocal. Yeah. You can do this body language.
And let's just go with body language, and I'm just gonna seduce him and make him my temporary plaything.
You're just gonna give him a little bit of a hey sailor, and give him the walk the walk, look the look. You're still on the hither. You probably got a couple hours of that left, so you still get that bonus. I'm actually, because this actually might matter, I think I will go check what the rules to oppose persuasion are.
Oh, I will also tell Gareth to keep an eye out.
All right, Garrett, you've been assigned lookout duty. He turns his back and he looks the other way.
Not that I mind if you watch.
It's a free future. As noted, this is still the future, so even on Luna, people are a little looser and a little more... They're not as concerned with lots of stuff. The only place that's really like that is the Jovian Republic, and that's because the Catholic Church is still very strong there. They've got very strong Western traditions. Skillist persuasion. So what's he going to roll to oppose this? Will plus sav. Okay. So you should go ahead and roll me a persuasion test with your specialization, with all your implant bonuses.
Let's see here. With my hitter, and that brings out to a total of 85, but I rolled a 12.
All right. Well, let's see.
Excuse me, it's 95.
Okay, so he's rolling.
12.
So he rolls under a 45, so there's a decent chance of beating you this first go-around, because you rolled relatively low. Ow! He actually rolls lower than you, so he passes, but he rolls an odd 8. So you immediately, with no need to roll kinesics, you immediately, from just his body language, he's not necessarily, like, super receptive. Obviously, he's in a biomorph. He's physically receptive, because there's some hard wiring going on. But his posture tenses up, so it's not necessarily that he's, like, seduced completely, but it's more that he realizes your intent, and he almost kind of resigns himself to it. You feel like he gets this approach a lot from the various customers. He gets hit on a lot, and possibly, I don't know, dragged into linen closets. I don't know if you're going to, like, go that far, but, you know, you get up close on him, touching, and you get the feeling that he's, I mean, obviously, he's not really losing out on anything, but he understands that, obviously, you and a very high-quality biomorph who are not indentured could probably get him, you know, sent up the creek if he complains or anything, so he's just kind of like, all right, whatever.
I feel sorry for the kid.
Oh no, I get to have sex with beautiful women. I'm so bad. So, you know, basically, you know, you've succeeded. You can socially manipulate him however you want. Like, if you want to direct him into the closet, or say there might less surveillance, you could take him into a locker room.
Something that's pretty common. Yeah, let's take him a bit somewhere a bit quieter or less visible.
All right, so you slip into like a private changing area, which won't be monitored. As usual, Garrett kind of just scoots up a little behind you and watches the door. Are you gonna go all the way first, or are you gonna switch to
business before pleasure?
To the interrogation.
But I will make him sit down, and I will sit on his lap.
All right, so he's in a kind of a compromising position. He's in a very delicate situation. You know, actually, yeah, he's kind of used to this kind of treatment, so he's gonna like start getting his.
It's like and I will stop and be like, one moment. And I'm just gonna let's see here. Well, he's Wilson. I do have. All right, so I'm gonna be like a bit of talk before the fun.
Okay.
That's all like. You're Wilson Yu, the one who reported seeing something very scary recently?
Yes, I'm recording this. This is not getting edited.
No.
People on the internet may hear this someday. That's okay. I'm in it bad too, because when you start talking about that thing, that situation that he was in,
as I said, we're all adults. We can talk about adults. So just I'm role playing something that I'm not. But he's like, wait. So I asked the question. So he saw something really scary. He saw something scary.
Yes, he has an instant reaction. Well, first of all, he loses a bit of his enthusiasm, let's say. Oh, it's kind of hard. You're sitting right up on his lap. You're really close with the hither and the enhanced pheromones. He's actually got a bit of a glassy-eyed look going on. Okay, it's quiet. Did it work? Are they gone now? Are the voices gone? I'm going to edit all this out. By the way, that's definitely going to be one of the cards if we make an Eclipse Phase deck. I'm going to edit this out.
Yes, but...
Oh, he gets a little nervous. His voice pitches up a little. You heard about that. Yeah, that was terrible, that stuff that happened to Erdogan. Though she's been received, of course, but she's undergoing, therapy for having restored from backup. How did you hear about this?
Oh, when you're on the boat, you hear many things. Though I have to say, and he's being in danger. Why don't you tell me about it?
I just I'm pretty sure my report to the police is public record. I just came in doing my job. We're stocking the towels in the women's locker room. It was terrible. Her morph was real torn up. Somebody tore the stack right out of her, and I saw a big hulking metallic form leaving. It was slipping out the service entrance. I was too paralyzed by fear to do anything. It was huge. It was covered in spikes. You can roll kinesics.
Time.
You will roll deception. Because you already knew he was lying. So many lies. Alright, does he have any deception? He does not, so he's going to roll straight sav. Well, he rolls a 19 out of 15. He's close.
He's close. Let's see what I can with my...
Yeah. Basically, if you pass at all, it'll be like, yeah, he's lying.
And bam! Oh, wrong button. Okay. Let's see here. Where'd my kinesis go? Oh, there it is.
It's alphabetical.
It is, but it's like I still have like a lot of damn skills, so it's like I have all the skills listed. But 40...
Also, some of the skills are close together. Sometimes I look at like kinetic weapons or kinesics and I get confused because they're right next to each other.
And that's kind of what was happening. Let's see, 62 out of 60.
All right, you failed. If you want to spend a point of moxie to flip that, you can.
I will.
Otherwise,
I will.
You pass. He is definitely lying. Like, you knew he was lying already. Actually, you know what? Take that moxie back, because you already knew he was lying. You should have had a bonus for it, and I forgot to
Okay.
add that. So we'll say you had a plus 10, because you knew already from the earlier experience that he was lying about that stuff.
I'm just trying to
He is very
get a
clearly
read
lying.
on, like,
He's
what he
making
wants
up. Since you passed very well with that plus 10, because the 60 is double excellent, the parts he's lying about are what exactly he saw and when he saw it. He's also lying about how he came to be there in the locker room, but you're not sure if that's relevant or not.
I'm just gonna be bump. It's all like, Wilson, darling, you don't think of me with a body like this, attracting all sorts of attention. Doesn't mean I haven't been able to learn how to spot a lie or two.
I'm not lying. What are you talking about? His voice cracks.
Intimidate!
After the plus 1, you basically left the temple and being
I'm pretty sure he knows this bunch of types.
Hey, is this gun in my head? It's me. His enthusiasm is slightly more diminished. He's a quarter now, not instead of a half. You could probably turn him around, though.
Alright, so, and...
Actually, it's a good question. Did you pull the gun with one of your hands, or...
No, let's go with tail. I still got my hands all over this body.
Yeah, so, you're still all up on him, and then your tail comes around from nowhere, and it's like,
Prehensible
surprise!
tails. Man, this thing is awesome.
Technically, you'd take an offhand penalty if you were to actually shoot with your gun like that, but he doesn't know that.
Yep.
Get a fucking tail.
It's a tail.
And it's holding a huge gun.
Alright, so intimidation. It's at a... Wait, so... Actually, I think I might have been slightly confused about this. Do I apply the bonus to my skill total and not my roll, right?
Yes, you do not
Okay.
add to what you roll on the dice.
Okay.
You add to your total skill.
With that, then my intimidation becomes 85.
And he rolls something to intimidate. I think
I
it's
roll
will
a
plus will plus
52.
sav again. Yes, it's will plus sav. Would you roll 50 something?
Yep, 53.
Alright, so he's rolling under a 45 again. Well, he couldn't have beat you anyway, but he tried. But he rolls a 7 and fails. Don't shoot me. Shoot me. Fine. It's cool. It wasn't a synthmorph. It was like a monster. It was huge and awful. It wasn't entirely synthetic. It had some organic parts, but nobody would have believed me. It was eating her morph when I got there. It tried to talk to me, tried to say something, but I couldn't understand it. So I just kind of stood there, and it said some stuff, and then I didn't say anything back, and it kind of freaked out, and it ran out the back. Listen, man, this is above my pay grade, okay?
Calm down. Did you happen to...
I'm calm, totally calm.
the time?
I mean, not any more than usual. I keep a life log like most people.
Would you give...
That means he has an external storage of an XP of it. So
Out of character, like, would I be able to actually, like, just have him, like, be able to give me a copy of that real quick?
yeah, he just FTP it to
It's
you.
like,
You're meshed
How
in
about
right
you
now.
send me a copy of the event from your perception? Alright.
Yeah, sure, okay. You get a little
Lovely. Alright, I will put the gun away.
instant
I
message
will give
downloads.
him a nice long kiss and say, as fun as this has been, I don't think you're much in the mood anymore.
No,
Alright.
I could use a shower.
And, oh, remember,
It's cold shower.
it's like,
Showers.
it's like this stays between us. Alright,
Yeah, sure.
and we'll bounce.
You bounce. Do you pop open the sliding door because it's the future and all the doors slide? Hop
Yeah,
over
pretty
to Garrett
much.
and we out.
Alright, let's go check out this XP.
All right, Garrett. The word on the street is we
Alright.
out.
I didn't mean for that to actually take that long.
That's fine. The flow was interrupted several times by unrelated factors. That's fine. The whole scenario is like 11 pages long of just materials, so just one of the leads is a fairly decent part of it. All right, so you have the XP.
Yeah.
Would you both like to view it? So I need to pull up the stressful events table, and you guys both need to make me willpower times
Here we
3
go.
tests for stress.
'Cause this is gonna be spooky.
Oh
Alright,
yeah,
so
no, this is
my
bad.
willpower is at rolled a
Mind
10.
hacks.
Is that good? I got a
Well, you
45.
passed.
Well, but it's like I'm still kind of confused
It's-
about like how the scoring and stuff works.
Like I said, it's like blackjack. You want to get as close as you can to your target,
Oh, okay.
to your
as
skill
close
number
as you
without
can,
going over.
Okay.
Yes. So a 45 out of 45 is
Alright.
the best you could possibly roll in this situation. And that's how opposed checks work. Basically, whoever passes but
Okay.
rolls higher rolls better. All right, so you both pass. You don't take any stress. I still want to find out what you would have taken, just to give you a perspective for how freaky this is. Action and combat, isn't it? I was in the wrong spot. Mental health. Here we go. Stress. Okay. Yeah, this would have been 1d10 stress for encountering a gruesome murder scene. For example, betrayal by a trusted friend is like 1d10 divided by 2. So, if you have a really serious situation which kind of shakes you a little, that's 1d10 divided by 2. This is full 1d10. It's
Okay.
bad. Seeing actual, Titan stuff is 1d10 plus something, and being horribly tortured means you take 2d10 stress yourself for being really beat up. So 1 to 10, it's not super bad, but it's ugly. There's
No,
just
it's
lots of
definitely
blood.
gonna.
You're looking at this and you're like, whoa.
Anyway, so
Ugh.
what do we see?
All right, so what you see is, all right, so he doesn't have any memory enhancers. This is just a literal XP of what he experienced. He doesn't have mnemonic augmentation or anything, and he doesn't have eidetic memory, so it's not a perfect capture. It's a little blurry. It's basically a recording of what he remembers experiencing, the stuff that his brain actually recalled.
Well, it's better than nothing.
So it's a little blurry, and he doesn't have any like visual enhancements or anything, so it's all visible spectrum light. But what you see is a kind of huge, fleshy, ape-like creature. It's got the kind of low-slung gait where its hands will reach down to like touch the floor kind of thing. Its arms are very long. It has huge metal jaws and teeth. We're talking like, an orc from Warhammer 40k here, big metal chompers. It's definitely eating Urtikin when he comes in. It pauses, it looks up, and it says some stuff to him. Marth, you have hyperlinguist, right? Okay. Would you like to attempt to translate this language?
Sure.
I'll be right back.
My guy does have a eidetic memory, so...
I will say that you can immediately identify the language because you have the hyperlinguist trait. It's Cantonese. I assume you don't speak that. I know that that Noble does not.
Nope.
Okay. In that case, you can attempt to translate by taking your INT. And what's the bonus hyperlinguist gives you? Is it plus 10 or plus 20? Okay, it's plus 10 actually. All right, so you can roll your INT plus 10 to just, without even needing to translate from software, to just instinctively guess what this says.
I have a roll 30 here.
Doesn't the Savant give like a big old INT
a big
bonus?
old cog bonus.
Alright, I'm back.
Okay.
Got a 12 out of 30.
Alright, so you pass, okay. Garrett just made a test with his hyperlinguist implant to understand what the monster was speaking. It was speaking in Cantonese. So what it says is, it asks him for his name. It identifies itself as Phuong Nguyen. You should recognize that last name.
Oh.
And it says something about it being hungry and lonely, and then when he doesn't respond, it just gets up and quickly kind of lumbers away. Because this is an XP dump, so if you choose, you can get like the full grasp of like his emotional state and everything.
Yeah.
He's pretty panicked. He doesn't like weather anything because his morph's pretty sturdy, but like he does not have a good time. He is paralyzed with fear, and then so your monster gets up and leaves. So now you have a major lead. The culprit introduced itself. I think Phuong is a feminine name. Herself? Maybe? It's hard to tell. You cannot tell a conventional gender based on what this thing looks like. It is just weird.
But it's apparently a part of the Nguyen family.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, now that we have a major lead, do we still want to go to the...
Well, is there anything that we could gain from going to any minor leads?
Well, we could get more information. We already have a meet set up tomorrow. I would not want...
Alright, here's the thing. As kind of a general thing, your characters would know this. Your mission is to locate the source of the blueprint. I'm pretty sure that one of the Nguyen family used the blueprint because you're familiar with how it works. You're pretty sure, like if you talk to Red Fox, he'll tell you that that's an accurate projection of what a person who started abusing this morph for, and, that... Remember how I said it could have neurological effects? Apparently cannibalism is one of those, because funnily enough, transhumans, or at least biomorphs, are chock full of complex organic chemicals.
It would be perfect to feed the being
right.
build
yeah. So basically it becomes a, self-perpetuating cycle. You have to fight and kill and eat people to get the chemicals you need to grow more, but when you grow more, you need more fuel, etc., etc.
But we still need to find out who supplied the blueprints in the first place.
Right, and you need to know where it came from.
So yeah, we still.
The only people who deal in illicit nanofab in this area are the hard cases. They're your best bet for finding if somebody was selling a fabricator or the blueprints, like on the black market or anything.
Yeah, so this meet's still important. But now, Garrett, how do you feel we should tackle the Nguyen? Should we confront them with this?
We shouldn't directly confront them because they might just hide everything.
Yeah, all we have is a blurry XP. That's
so we try to keep on the down low and see if there's any sort of activity going on that there might be inner sort of conflicts within the family.
You want to handle this after? Let's see here. How long ago was the last murder?
About a week.
And the murder before that?
That was between 2 weeks and a week and a half ago. So you might have a few more days before
Right.
it's
Yeah,
likely.
I don't know. I don't want to be. My thing is, I don't want to be tracking too much attention. But short period of time. This Fonduen.
Sure.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's dig up what we can on Fonduen and see if we have anything to build off that. Maybe particular relationships to anybody else.
All right, so your move is to check out Fonduen. So that'll be a research test. Again, you're going to Google Stalker.
We got 54 out of 70.
You do pretty good. So Miss Nguyen is a member of the Nguyen family. She lives at the family estate. Their estate is located in one of the poshest neighborhoods in Arato in the Mekong Cavern. We're talking like they've got an actual estate with estate grounds. Kind of huge, which again, in the transhuman future where space is at a premium, that's a big deal. The Nguyen family itself is fairly reclusive. Their fortune comes from shipping operations, so they own a lot of stock in storage and cargo freighters and spaceports, almost all of which is done either via AI or remote operation, completely automated, or is done through freelance like space truckers, basically. They have very little interaction with the community at large, and even more so, they have been extremely reclusive lately. You do not find, you're going through, the history, you don't find any public mesh activity from Fong in over a month. It has been a long time since it seems her or anybody in her family have made public contact. That's not entirely uncommon for the Nguyen family. No, nobody really seems sure why, probably because they don't socialize much, but they're very, not necessarily introverted, but they kind of keep themselves to themselves kind of thing. They don't interact with their families a lot. It used to be that they showed up for regular obligation-type showings, somebody in their social circles has a birthday party or something, a re-sleeving party, they show up. They haven't really done that in a while, though, so you don't know. There's not any total psychological profiling or anything. There's no public medical records. There's no public education records. It looks like the Nguyen family kind of handles everything in-house, which isn't too atypical for a hyper-elite family, but she's not a socialite, so she doesn't, do life logs or do social commentary XP or anything like that. She doesn't appear to be employed by anything. She's just a member of the family.
So she can disappear off the planet Earth, but no one but the family would know.
Yes. Would you like to perhaps look up their estate, since that's in town?
Sure.
Okay. You can't get a up-close look, but, actually, that's a good question. Do you want to try and look through public surveillance footage, or do you want to take a drive-by?
Let's see, look at,
Let's do both.
All right.
Both.
One of you can drive the cycle while one of you looks on the mesh.
We'll look on the map.
All right.
Okay.
From your perspective, you don't need to roll anything for this. You can't get an up-close look. There are cameras in that neighborhood, but they're all street level. And funnily enough, people's houses are positioned kind of far away from the street in this neighborhood, as you might expect from a high-quality, upper-class neighborhood. But you can definitely see that there is a ornate but quite functional-looking fence, probably with electric bars. There are also... Actually, yeah, no, you wouldn't see that. Yeah, their yard seems to be a little overgrown also. The plants could use some trimming. And what you see when you pull up is all that stuff I've described before. There are macaques in the trees. There are the fence is clearly electrified. Do either of you have electrical sense?
Nope. I don't.
I do.
Okay. Yes, they are definitely electrified. You're close enough to tell. There's an electric current running through those big, heavy bars. Like I said, there's a sensor system which is pointed up, so anyone attempting to hop or fly over the fence would be detected. The plants are overgrown. The water features look a little dingy. It hasn't been cleaned in a while. There's nobody on guard at the gate. There's an intercom, a little meshed console you can use to call inside.
What?
But there's nobody out there. There's nobody on the grounds. There's no lights on that you can tell, though the glass could all be armored that you can't necessarily see through it. And yeah, that's basically it. There's a single oversized fish in the water feature. The house itself is great. It's a extravagant exterior made of real wood with a non-specific Southeast Asian style. It's a nice house. It just looks like nobody's been running the maintenance for a while.
Like a month, maybe?
Yeah, or longer. Do you guys have any knowledge skills which you think pertain to this situation?
Let's see here. I'm probably gonna say nay, but
Polished for,
let's see. I have astronomy, astrophysics, engineering, global history, ruined habitats, old earth relics.
No, I don't think you've got anything. I'll be looking here for an art or an interest in architecture, a art in horticulture, a profession in agriculture or horticulture kind of thing, or landscaping. You guys don't have any of that?
No.
All right. So you can't be sure, but you could guess that maybe a month or more.
Has any of the Nguyen family been seen publicly in the last month?
Nope. None of them that live here. There are some members of the family who are more active. They're probably out in other major hubs, they might live in sectors that like other cities on Luna or out further in the system like Venus or Mars. But none of those who live in Arato in the estate have been seen. There have also been zero mesh activity from them as far as you can tell.
Garrett, do you think you can access their systems in there, maybe? See if they have like cameras, security?
You're going to need to do a hardwire tap for that.
Sure.
Their security system is not wireless. However, there are security system sensors attached to the top of the fence. So, if you want to go, stick your nose up in there, you have access jacks. Do you have, either of you have fiber optic cables?
Yes.
Okay, if you have the fiber optic cables, then yes, you could. It's low gravity, so you don't have to roll a climbing test, but you could shimmy to the top of one of the fence posts, carefully not touching the electrified bars, and then roll me a hardware electronics test to splice into the security system, at which point you can hack it.
All right.
Well, do we want this in... Can we find a blind spot in the cameras? Blech.
Yeah, you can find a spot in a corner. The cavern's kind of big. You can kind of find a property border between two estates and go around where the cameras aren't showing.
Yeah, let's do that.
If you want to be really sure, you guys can roll me infiltration tests. That'll be like hardcore ninja sneaking. If you just want to like casually stroll out of sight.
Casually stroll out of sight.
Basically, the difference is if you roll infiltration, people won't necessarily be able to tell where you went. Without it, somebody who's reviewing the tapes will definitely be able to tell you guys walked into a blind spot, but they won't be able to tell what you did in that blind spot.
I'll be able to deny. That's all that matters.
That's right. Plausible deniability. That's like one of Firewall's top 3 buzzwords.
I do have a reputation as a fire.
Actually, you have like a plus exploration, so you could be into urban exploration. You could be like, hey, no, I just want to see. It's a nice looking house.
Yep.
You could just use a little TLC. Garrett, did you roll that hardware electronics?
Yes, I got a 60 out of 60.
Ooh, nice. All right, you pop right in. You don't trigger any alarms from the hardware end. You got to do a little jury rigging. Do you have wrist-mounted tools?
Let me...
If you did, technically, you probably should have got a bonus to the test, but... Or do you have a utility tool?
I handed my utility
back
tool.
down.
All right.
I have the utility tool, and I have practical gloves.
Oh, you got fractal gloves. Okay, so what happens is you pop your fractal gloves on. You're holding your fiber optic cable, which is plugged into your access jacks on one end, and you got a fractal glove on the other. You just carefully disassemble the outer panes, and you almost like build a little access jack out of the existing wiring and just pop that right in. Now we're gonna do an infosec test. Roll me infosec to defeat their firewall.
Okay.
Are you doing a conventional hack or a brute force hack?
I don't exactly want to be seen on that.
All right,
so
so
as I said, we're not in a rush at the moment, so...
Is there any sort of encryption on this system?
Not until you beat the firewall.
Okay, I'm just making sure. 31 out of 60.
All right. You got an exceptional success. The system is, oddly enough, not monitored. And this isn't like the police situation where you were just so good that you dodged the system. That's not even a security AI running this security system. It's all dumb, for lack of a better term. Like, it's just sensors and automated responses. There's no intelligence behind it. So you have hidden status. You do not appear in the logs. You have admin privileges and a plus 30 to subvert the system. So you're in. You're logged in. It's not wireless, so you can only view the security system through hardware ports. However, you have admin privileges, so you can just write yourself an access code or anything, build any backdoors you like, that kind of thing. Basically what I'm saying is, once you unplug from this port, you're going to have to plug in again somewhere else to get at it or access like a regular terminal. But you can, while you're plugged in, because you have admin access, you can give yourself any security clearances you like. You can look at all the cameras, all the sensor reports, etc., etc.
All right.
Let's look at some camera footage and see if there's actually what the state's been looking like.
Yeah, let's look at that first.
Okay, so first you're going to use the system. You don't need to... Actually, yeah, roll me a perception test to notice anything additional, but you'll get the interior view.
Okay, so perception, I have a D.
You do not get any bonuses for enhanced or anything because you're looking through the security cameras. This is to watch their feed.
Alright, okay, I got a 16 out of 50.
Alright, not great, but you notice some additional details. So the interior of the home is lavishly decorated with an all number of pre-fall paraphernalia, no doubt acquired at great expense. If Gecko were to look at this, he might even find some pieces he might have sold to some people who were in turn sold to these people, kind of thing. Like, they've got a lot of pre-fall shit in here. Most of the rooms appear to not have been inhabited for several months. At least 2 or 3. There's dust on stuff, which is incredibly unusual in this day and age. The plants are all growing wild. The doors need oiling, that kind of thing. And these people have real doors. They don't have space doors. They have real doors. Well, you do notice with your
hinges.
Yeah, actual brass knobs and brass hinges.
Oh god.
That's how expensive this place is. They are wasting good quality wood and metallics on making doors of all things. Doors that swing. Who does that?
What happened? Like, What's wrong with sliding doors? It's so much more convenient and compact. Oh my god.
So what you do notice with your successful perception test that there are signs that something large and heavy has been moving around inside. There are dents in the walls and floor. The doorknobs, those beautiful, beautiful doorknobs have been crushed as if squeezed by an enormous hand. There's something big that is still walking around this place, leaving tiny craters and dents in the walls. And
I'm glad we
since
checked the camera.
these are made of real wood, that's strong. This is like solid hardwood floors and hardwood walls. To dent that kind of stuff, you're talking serious strength or weight.
I'm so glad I decided to check the camera before.
You do not see anything in the house moving around. You just see the signs of it, though. I'll give you one more thing.
Noble, there's probably
One more thing.
inside.
Erato has this was mentioned earlier, Erato has a tunnel network from the mining operations that run under it, some of which are still used for service access. Those would not have cameras in them, but it's entirely possible that there are service-level functions underneath this facility which constitute tunnels. Tunnels which could possibly be used to come and go without needing to pass, say, security cameras. However, if you guys want to get into the tunnel level, you guys are either going to have to find a tunnel access, which are heavily monitored by the police department and other security concerns, and could possibly involve a little hard vacuum, not that that bothers either of you. And it wouldn't really be hard vacuum, because it's subterranean on Luna. It'd be kind of lack of air, a little cold. But anyway, you'll either have to find an access point outside, or you'll have to go inside and go down.
I'm not feeling up to going inside a house where this may be. Cameras or not, it could be just high. Could be fun.
I mean, you don't know if they're inherently hostile. While they were eating a person, the subject did try and talk to the other guy, so you're not really sure. You guys don't have, like, interest ex-surgeons or anything like that, right?
Nope.
You do have academic psychology, though, right, Noble?
Yep.
You can roll that if you want. Take a little guess in the dark based on your academic experience.
Oh, no, wait, I don't. Frickin' my muse does.
Yeah, well, muses have plenty of psychology. You can still do that. Do you have any other applicable academics? I was pretty sure at one point you had your own academic psychology, but if...
I did, but I decided to just leave it to my,
Yes, your muse can also run a psych profile.
I will have my muse run a psych profile.
Alright, so roll under 60.
Roll under 60. 19.
Alright, not great, but pass. Tatiana reports to you. Shot in the dark, just based on what you saw. Your new friend seems very lonely, very isolated. There's nobody else in this house but them. It's entirely possible that while those psychological effects that Red Fox mentioned, are warping their judgment or their personal desires, and the smart swarm has definitely altered the neurology and thus the motivations of whoever it's in. So they have a skewed priority, which includes consuming more complex materials. But they're still a person, kind of. So your subject has been isolated a long time. It's entirely possible that they don't have any regular social interaction. So when they're not busy eating people to grow more crazy body parts, they just kind of want to talk and hang out. And so if you guys don't look like food, or if it's eaten recently, you might be able to talk.
Well, unfortunately, I think I make one fine meal, and considering the frequency of which it's eating now, I'd probably be next on the menu. Garrett, though...
Yeah. You don't know how sophisticated this thing's senses are. It might be able to tell that he's not biomorph. Certainly, if it tried to take a bite of him, the synthetic mask looks very good, but it's all synthetic elements. It's not like if you took a scraping of his skin and looked at it under a microscope, it looks similar, but if you checked it for DNA, there wouldn't be any because it's artificial. So if it tries to take a bite out of it, it'll be like, this isn't organic chemicals.
Well, and unfortunately, she probably wondered if she still have the social stigma against...
You have no idea how her socialization works, because, I mean, if she's looked in a mirror recently... another thing is, he has a microwave agonizer, you have zap rounds. You could attempt to incapacitate and then talk to. You could do this the nice way. Alternatively, you've got an agonizer and a heavy pistol, which can fire regular bullets. You could try and do this the not nice way. Firewall kind of leaves this stuff up to your discretion. If you've got a credible threat, you could kick this up the line, and Firewall will find an erasure squad, and some guys with heavy combat armor and plasma rifles will kick down the door. However, before you do that, you probably want to make absolutely sure you have all the data you need, because erasure squads don't leave a lot of evidence behind. This would probably result in a mysterious fire which burns down the entire estate and everything inside of it kind of situation.
Let me take back the veins I sold or got. But let's try to make contact first.
Alright, well, you've got an administrator in the system. You guys can set up any stuff you like. Would you like to create legitimate users for yourself?
Yeah.
So what kind of security do they have in the system?
Alright, there are cameras, there's an external aerial sensors, the doors are locked, the estate doors are mechanical locks. The tunnel access, is a biometric lock. So you guys will have to go inside and submit your Well, the one of you that has biometrics would have to submit your biometrics so that you could bypass the lock. Otherwise, you'll have to figure out something else. There are also bug zappers. Those are functions which are designed to counteract infiltration by microbots or nanoswarms. So there are tiny electromagnetic field generators around like the doors and windows, so nanotech can't slip inside. Other than that, there's not a lot. I mean, there's probably some motion sensors. There might be some anti-theft devices on some of the more valuable artifacts. Just pressure sensors to make sure the weight is maintained. You could turn those all off, though.
I'm not in the business of stealing things when I'm bots. I'm gonna call out her name.
Alrighty.
1.
Let's roll for this.
It's like, I'm just gonna be like, prepare to run outside.
So, you don't hear any response.
Garrett, you wanna try calling her out?
Maybe, is there any sort of, actually, could we tell if there's any sort of recent sort of markings in this room?
Alright, make me an investigate check.
Do I
Investigation.
I have a little bit of investigation. I'll give it a whirl. Oh, I got 25 out of 30.
Oh, okay. You can tell which impacts are newer rather than older, though you can tell, you're not entirely sure, but you think that all of these are in general a little bit older. Fong or whoever hasn't been kicking around the house very much recently. They might have moved entirely underground. There's a little bit of stuff, but you can tell which one marks are newer rather than older.
Okay, so maybe we should try to track the newer marks and see if there's any, like, increasingly newer ones.
I mean, if you're trying to, like, build a most recent, like, what her most recent paths have been, it's not very helpful. They just kind of seem to wander randomly around the house. You go to the kitchens, which are, incredibly nice. There is no food in the kitchen whatsoever. It is all gone. You notice there are no AI-driven pods for servants around, though there are some suspicious white blood stains in places. Pods have white blood because white blood is cool, and they're partially artificial. It's like Ghost in the Shell. They have synthetic blood, so it's white.
I guess we should...
So, I don't know, maybe they ate the pod servants.
Maybe we should look around.
Yeah, let's,
Unless there's something in the sort of house and look.
Other than lots of authentic pre-fall artifacts, and, high-quality other materials, silk sheets, high-quality clothing, smart clothing, you can probably find a bar somewhere. There's a smoking room with actual tobacco and some harder stuff. You guys can make me a scrounging test. I mean, if you're seriously going to try and dig up some stuff here.
This seems like their living place, I guess.
Okay, so let's try going down to find access point to the underground portion.
Alright, there's a secured door. It's got a biometric lock. You can also attempt to hack the door. If you have a covert operations tool, you can just crack it open. It's not that sturdy. You guys could probably try and kick it down if you really wanted to. It's a door. It's locked. What do? You don't have to bypass the firewall, so just go ahead and make me a infosec check with plus 30 because you still have your admin rights.
I got a 90 out of 90.
Okay, the door pops open. Click. There is a slight rush of air. You find a body bank, a cornucopia machine, a data vault, and a top-of-the-line internal computer network. It's the typical hardened utility room. It's got all the stuff that you'd want to keep locked up. The body bank is full of healing vats, all of which are empty. You can check their records. There's a data vault, which is their private servers. Basically, all their personal information is stored on. That might be interesting to check for any information you might need.
Data storage.
All right, it is not hardened, so you guys can just roll. Who's plugging in?
I'll let Garrett handle it. He's the techie.
Roll me an interfacing check. You're going to check the file registry and figure out what the fuck's on this.
63.
Out of?
70.
Okay. Well, first of all, there's a shitload of confidential information here, including financial details like bank account numbers, lunar bank account numbers, buckets and buckets of XP. An entire server rack is taken up in XP, some of which has been recorded as recently as a day or so before you guys got here. Also find a copy of the Titan blueprints you're looking for, who've been hosted on this computer system. Presumably, they were made using the sophisticated cornucopia machine.
How about viewing one of the most recent XP files?
Alright, you're going to find the most recent XP. Make me a stress test. Willpower times 3.
And I got 45 out of 45.
Alright, you are fine. It's a little rough, though. You find yourself sleeved into an enormous, monstrous amalgamation of flesh and machinery, shambling around, searching for something to satiate your ravenous hunger with. It's just, we'll say, like 10 or 15 minutes of it, just wandering around the tunnels, looking for something to eat. Man, you're really hungry. And then it ends, and you're back.
Okay, well, from that XP file, that thing is still wandering around underground. It was just a day or so ago.
How is it feeling?
Hungry. You might want to go into some place that I can't reach into.
Oh, that's not the problem. The problem is we don't know how to stop or call someone to stop it. But if it's in the tunnels, well, we can't really pinpoint it, and I don't think Firewall will enjoy having us send one of their groups on a monster hunt.
Right. Maybe we should find any other information out first.
Do you tell Noble you found the
They were
blueprints?
posted on this computer.
Oh, so this is their origin point?
Yep.
If you're going to check this file modified or created on information, the metadata again, it looks like somebody downloaded those files to this server. Let me just check.
I guess a week ago. Oh.
Several months ago, actually. Let's say 3 months ago, this file was first downloaded, and then almost immediately upon being installed on this server, it was run. Somebody put the blueprint into the cornucopia machine and had it spit out a swarm. It had them spit out several swarms, at least half a dozen. However, you're fairly certain that this is a body bank which is filled with healing vats. There are no spare bodies, and you're pretty sure there's only one quote-unquote monster running around. So, I don't know. You guys can take a guess about that.
Well,
you got
make
the
sure you
data.
delete the blueprints from their data bank.
I'll do that.
Do you want to racks and racks of XP? We're talking all of the several months worth of XP files.
This
However, the last XP you viewed was already kind of freaky. You could copy it for posterity, but otherwise, no, it's probably not. I mean, if you guys want to commit massive levels of account fraud, keeping in mind, actually, this is probably their ego storage down here. There are members of the family who have their backups in the servers here. Obviously, they don't have no morphs to sleep into, so they're still in cold storage, but somebody will probably find this room, which is fireproofed and decently secured, so unless you guys have some thermite to spread around, or you guys scrub the egos, if you want to condemn a family of probably, this is a sizable hyperleague, there's probably, a dozen or so egos stored here. If you want to condemn a whole family of people to permadeath, but otherwise, yeah, you guys don't have a whole lot of use for the banking information. You might bankrupt the family if you delete all of it.
Let's just crash the system.
Alright, do you want to, go full hackers and just kernel purge?
Wait, isn't that going to kill them?
The drives?
No.
Yes.
Yeah.
Garrett, do you really want to kill this family?
This family might be involved in this whole thing. Can't trust.
They could be subverted.
Must
You can't trust
eliminate
them.
all threats.
You don't know. The most thorough thing to do would be to basically probably pull a server rack out and take it with you and be like, hey, Firewall, look at these people.
If you want to crash
let the psycho, but this is it's a little extreme because you guys are maintaining a low profile, but this is one of the things Sentinels are supposed to do, is if you find something, anything you think is relevant, you're supposed to burn it. So if your tech guy is saying we should crash these servers,
alright, well, I said it'll be your call.
That's what he's saying.
Yeah.
Alright, are you going to do it? You're just going to reformat? Roll me an infosec test.
Got a 7 out of 60.
Alright, not great. Do you want to pop the egos into portable storage?
Sure.
First? Okay. So, he ejects a server rack, and he deletes the home copy. So you guys have a little hard drive. It's a little black square. It's probably maybe about the size of a modern, bigger tablet computer, like an iPad, only it's all black, and it's just a little storage rack. So nobody needs to make real stress tests. You have not necessarily permanently killed these people. And I'm sure that Mr. Techno-Socialist does not mind at all, basically consigning all their wealth to be remanded by the government. I mean, assuming if Firewall checks their egos out and manages to reinsert them back in, that's a thing they can do. That'll be somebody else's problem. Nothing will come of it. But should the LLA investigation get here first, then since the family will be missing and they'll have no existing backups, at least as far as you guys know, the Lunar Lagrange Alliance will take possession of all their assets. Or at least all the personal assets. Some of them might go to some of the distant family members. There might be pre-existing, wills in place for some of the older people, but most people don't permanently die anymore, so the precautions are kind of, That would be something for the courts to decide. Now, if you also wanted to, say, steal some bank account information before you delete it, you could do that too.
Yeah, not interested in much.
But I don't know if you guys are interested in that.
My guy is all about free stuff.
It's I want money, but I don't want to make money on my terms, not taking it from someone else.
Also, you're not entirely sure, but, going into an actual, bank in Arado and withdrawing so much inter-system credit, or possibly hard materials like gold or silver, or some other precious materials you can't replicate. Because just because you can See, nanofabrication is only molecular. They can only arrange substances. They can't, like, spontaneously make elements. So rare metals like platinum or gold are still valuable for certain amounts of physical trades because, one, you can still use gold and platinum in electronics, and two,
The whole entire
gold
world
is gold.
economy is based on the love of shiny objects.
So, though technically the Planetary Consortium's intersystem credit is based on the value of a qubit, which is purely informatic. It's quantum entanglement basically is the market for how the consortium's credits are valued. So information is what runs the hypercorp economy, basically. The value of information, which is an interesting thing, I think. It's better than a fiat currency.
It's different. It's a digital shiny.
But still, shiny thing.
Anyway, I guess we'll pack up this thing and it's like, so do we want to try the tunnels or do we want to call it a day?
There is a utility access hatch down here if you want to pop in. I don't know if you guys feel like having a bug hunt.
I take too long to find it. Are there any sort of security feed down the tunnels? Okay.
Oh, God, no.
Okay.
But we will be by ourselves.
That shit's old.
Possibly with a hulking, hungry monster.
Let's leave it down there.
If we can get enough evidence, and we might just want to contact Firewall about this one.
Yeah.
Well, we need to contact them anyway about picking up the case. Firewall now and give them a daily report. Is that something we just need to say to the end?
Let's give an updated report.
No, that's entirely up to you.
Well, yeah, actually, yeah, I'm gonna give them contact Firewall and give them a report explaining the monster, how it be, what it's doing, what it wants, and also the possible lead on the
nanites, the smart swarms. Which there were 6 swarms produced, but there's apparently only one hulking monster here.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have reached this conclusion already, but it might be a reasonable assumption at this point that they might have, started cannibalizing each other first before they started cannibalizing people outside.
Right, so
it's also how there only seems to be one of them.
Cells when it's like we're gonna eat this.
It's literal survival of the fittest. Yeah, so you guys don't need to roll anything to get in contact with Firewall and send your local router handles. For low-key stuff like this, they didn't even realize there was an active outbreak. They were just like, hey, somebody posted this weird Titan-based nanotech blueprint. We took care of it. We need you to find who posted it and probably do something about them. Yes. So basically, your report is, here's all the stuff we found so far. You report what you've got, what you think, all the conclusions you've reached.
Also,
you say you've got some
request additional
checking out, maybe some memory editing.
If they want us. Unless they want us to deviate from the mission and hunt down this monster as well, we will need additional support. We are we're definitely not equipped to handle this on our own.
All right. Well, first of all, you're given a Dropbox location where you can deposit the egos. You can basically, push it off and take care of it. No need to worry about that. Fire will get back to you later. We've been going for a while. I don't know how much you guys feel like seeing this result. We can do this quickly, in which case, Firewall can just tell you, we'll send with somebody to take care of it as you guys are clearly not equipped. Or we could possibly, pause it here, and we could split this into 2 parts, and then maybe other people will join in, and they can be your reinforcements. All right, you're thinking that maybe you want to
it's literally like the end of our day.
Set it here and wait to see if more people join in.
Call.
All right, so what they say is, all right, it is within your mission parameters if this person has used the Smart Swarm to ensure that their physical morph is destroyed or otherwise, rendered inoperable, so they're going to acquire some additional Sentinels and send them to you. And if a bigger team of Sentinels can't track down and make sure that the body is captured and eliminated,
good times.
Then they'll call an erasure team and they're going to burn everything to the ground. Dehumanize yourself and face to bloodshed. Credit where credit is due. The person who the anonymous person who wrote this adventure really captured a lot of the new Eclipse Phase feel.